You know what's wild? I'm seeing this situation, and I seen this morning that these people in Minneapolis, they start rioting. Now, I just seen another video besides the one where the cop pulled out his weapon on a person for a turn signal, and the guy is basically kind of yelling at him about it. Yeah, he's yelling at him. So then you run into this new scenario. So I then see another video last night, this apparently happened last night, where you see people from the sheriff's department, and I think this one was in Minnesota. And you see a black woman, and looks like a black man. It was a little blurry, admittedly. They're having this confrontation with the police. And you hear the people who are spectating, "Don't touch her. Don't touch her. She didn't do anything." I think that's what they said, but I did hear the "don't touch her." So she backs off. Now, if the cop wanted to arrest her or something, I understand. What I don't understand is that you hear her scream, and you see that he bear hugs her, and he plants her down. Then he commences to take his fist and starts swinging on her. Wholesale. Good about 3 or 4 shots. Now, the other cop is trying to restrain the man, who I'm going to assume that's either his family or his girl or his wife. There's somebody close to him, even his best friend. There's somebody that's close to him. So the guy moves the cop out the way to get the cop off of the girl, because he's literally swinging hard on her, wholesale. So she commences to defend herself and fight back. In turn, these other cops grab him, they push him over. He pretty much picks her up and slams her onto the ground and aggressively holds her, and they tase him. Now, it got so vicious that you see, before the video ends, for what I seen, there was a spectator who started to walk up. Like, "Yo, what are y'all doing? Like, stop it." Caucasian cop and black people of color. I think the other guy might have been Spanish. Could be wrong. Or Latino. Not Spanish. Sorry about that. What I'm seeing, and I get it. People keep doing, well, 99% of police are good. It's only the 1%. Okay. Let me counter your dumb argument with this. I agree. There are good cops out there. I've done videos where I've even said there's good cops out there. Cops have a blue versus all mentality. It's a us versus them. Don't matter what it is or what. And one of the big problems I have is also the fact that besides that blue versus all mentality, they don't call each other out. Now, there was a police officer, I think his name was Officer Andrew. He did call them out. And it was back when we had the other situation happen where those wonderful guys decided to run down a black man and pretty much, end his existence. And he said in the video about how there's a responsibility that needs to be on the police. Things need to change. Things need to happen. Stuff needs to be done. He was calling out just the whole situations of just different and how the police are handling things. Then he did a follow-up video about how he lost his job within a span of 24 hours because they told him to take the video down, and they kept trying to find every reason. After they were giving him props, they were saying, "Great video, great job, you spoke the truth." And in order for him to speak the truth, they basically blacklisted him and they fired him, and they told him he can no longer be a police officer in that state. That's what happens when you got these 99% who should step up and fight back. They're risking their jobs, their community, their family. At the same time, you then cannot use these cops, well, there's 99% good cops, because these good cops should be taking down these bad cops. But when you take down another police officer, oh no, 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 you're turning on the blue, you're turning on the blue. They got black and white cars, they got blue, and you shouldn't talk against the fraternity of the police. You know what that sounds a lot like? That sounds a lot like a gang. You don't turn against the brotherhood. I'm still wrestling my thoughts with this going on, but I'm gonna say this. I love Dr. King's dream. But you know what else? There was also another man. Another man who had a code. And it was by any means necessary. That man's name was Malcolm X. Now, there are people who are calling out and saying, why are you rioting? It doesn't fix anything. Well, seems like the peaceful protesting ain't working. People are getting attacked when they're doing the walks and doing the things, and they're having the gatherings and stuff. Nothing seems to be working. It's not stopping. Regulations are verily changing. And I don't mean this just against people of color like myself. I mean as a whole, as a police department. When Mr. Floyd got taken down, you see other races involved. You see a woman who is definitely not black, maybe Caucasian. Sorry, I'm assuming. She's even saying, pleading. She's like, look, I work for the fire department, I need to help. They didn't even respect her and her position. They didn't even respect her to do it. And the guy, all he said was, haha, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. And she's like, listen, I'm a professional, because the fire department actually have a lot of training with first aid. I don't know if a lot of people know that. They're actually, a lot of times, they're the responders to first aid situations and medical situations. So she's telling him what he is, and she starts flipping out on him, and he goes, that's unprofessional. And they're just so nonchalant about it. And I found out, I know in that state, they've had a couple situations like this happen. Now, over the span of these several days, you're seeing a woman who calls the police and tries to do the, oh my God, he's trying to hurt me thing. You see a police officer assaulting people with police brutality. You see a man's life end. And I guarantee you, if I look a little further, there's more. Oh, and you see a guy who is stopped by a police officer for a traffic signal, and the police officer came in with guns blazing. Then you wonder why people are going werewolf. You wonder why people are breaking things. You're not fixing it. That's the problem. That's what it is. I'm gonna stand in some shade amongst the beautiful birds. You're not fixing the issue. The police officers, I've had it in my life happen. The police officers who are good need to start fighting back for the people. Because what you're going to do, it's going to eventually get to a point. You're going to get people so angry. There's going to be enough is enough. I seen Meek Mill say something about it of, well, in the end, do we have to defend ourselves? I've seen other people say stuff. It's not, yeah, you can look at this and trivialize it and go, what does that solve? It's not about the solving anymore. Now it's about the rage. You got people who have been under quarantine. They're already having the pressures of that. They're having the pressures of losing things. And then on top of this, you do that. And yes, that man was murdered by that police officer, and the other 3 that were there let it happen, so they're accomplices to it. And they don't seem to bat an eye. They're probably not going to lose no sleep, as long as it doesn't interrupt their lives, besides them getting fired. So, I personally I'm not saying that people need to go out, riot, do things like that. But probably for the first time in a long time, I'm going to say I'm not against what those people are doing. This is not the first time this happened. This is a few situations that's happened in this state. And people are tired of it. So, the governor's 45th, I don't care. You need to fix that now. Not tomorrow, not the legislations. Y'all need to give us our money. Stop playing with us that we deserve as a people to run through this government mandated lockdown. You need to do your jobs and make sure we get a nice amount of money, number one. Number two, you need to overhaul the entire police force. This whole gang mentality needs to end, because it's one thing to defend your brother. I get it. You get your brother in arms, your job is dangerous. I understand. It's a whole nother thing to defend evil actions and evil activity in spite of. Your job is to protect and serve, not protect and serve each other, the people. We pay the taxes. We pay for you to have your jobs. And I know some people go, oh, well, you're trivializing. No, we do. You're there to protect us. You are there to help us. And we pay into you to do that. That's what you are paid for. These people that are doing it, they're lashing out, and I know people are like, it's ridiculous. No, it's rage. People are tired of it. Especially people of color, but then even more especially black people. Like I've said before, and you'll hear me say it anytime you ask me, I am about equality across the entire board. Right now, I don't want to hear no counter argument, all lives matter. I don't want to hear no counter argument about Colin Kaepernick. I don't want to hear nothing. Colin did it. Look what y'all did to him. Beyonce did it. Oh, she can never be at the Super Bowl again. Every time somebody does step up to do something, y'all tear them down. So what are they supposed to do? Not going to keep taking it. Not going to keep sitting there just letting it happen. Eventually, something's going to pop, as you're starting to see. So I hope the good cops do not get hurt. I hope the people who are riding, I hope as many of them do not get hurt as possible. But it's time that you 99, that everyone keeps saying, oh, it's two sides to a story. The 99% of cops are good. I don't want to hear that no more. How about you 99% of you cops do your job and start protecting the people and start taking down these terrible officers? That man does not get to go home to his family over a forgery call. He was unarmed, and you show he wasn't resisting. And his family never gets to see him again. They don't get to see his smile. They don't get to hear his voice unless it's some kind of recording. They don't get to see him face to face ever again. Do you understand the gravity of that situation? People have families. People have people who care about them. You being a police officer, it is your job to do the best you can. I understand there's mistakes happen, but that was no mistake. And there's too many times it's not a mistake. You're on some kind of power trip, and you need to come back down to earth. Or you're going to see the situation get worse. Because there's going to be a point, someone's going to do something real stupid. One of y'all are going to do something to the wrong stuff, and it's going to be like a powder keg. This is not me making a threat. This is me talking about my prediction. It's time that 99% that everybody wants to protect. I have friends who are cops. I know people whose families are cops. I've had a lot of good experiences with some police officers. I've had more bad, admittedly, but I've had some good ones too. I think it's time the country wakes up and maybe some of you people in the government actually start worrying about the people instead of your friends, instead of making sure your friends got their jobs, or making sure your friends got their corporations, or making sure your friends have their stuff, and start taking more care of the people that got you there, the people who break their backs, the people who sacrifice every day for the freaking pennies on the dollar while you're sitting there fat and rich and everything. And this ain't a thing against the rich people. What I'm saying is you don't even give us the right amount of pay half the time to live properly. We're literally fighting over scraps. But it's all gravy, isn't it? As long as you got what you got. So I think it's time. And 45th, maybe you could be a man for once, instead of having Twitter having to apologize for you, which is insane. And maybe you can speak up about this police situation yourself. Show that you aren't just an a-hole the whole time. Be appreciated. Maybe it'll shine some light on the situation. So everyone keeps saying, what about the black community? What about the black community? When they talk about politics. Well, what do you mean, what about the black community? We got to take care of ourselves too. We got to step up ourselves. But I can tell you one thing I want to see for the black community. If whether the current 45th stays in or whether Joe Biden goes in, it's time that y'all reform the police department. You restructure the entire thing. You make them fully accountable for what goes on. You make sure if they don't have the body cam footage, then they're automatically guilty. That body cam footage is to protect the people. And if they don't have it on, you're guilty. Time to start giving people the benefit of the doubt. That's all I got to say about this. This is the best I could do with the thoughts that I have. This is the Geek Protagonist. I'm trying to keep my channel light and fun, but when a situation gets under my skin, it just does. Yeah. See, you don't understand. My mind is like this. That could have been me. That could have been my brother. That could have been anyone that I know. That could have been my boy. That's the problem. That's how we're seeing it now. Yeah, you don't get it. But hey, thank you for visiting my channel. This is the Geek Protagonist. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please, it'll really help me out in the channel if you actually share these videos, if you like what I'm doing. Please hit that bell notification. Hit it, click. This way you won't miss any of my videos. Also, there's a thing on there that says personal and all. Hit the all. This way you'll get them every time for the notifications. I'm trying to, grow, trying to do commentary about what's going on. And I want to thank you again. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay real. This is the Geek Protagonist. I'm out, and I'll see you.